Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. And get ready, because today we're diving into what could be a massive AI development coming out of China. We're talking about something some are calling their second DeepSeek moment, like a real game changer.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of buzz around this one.
For sure. Our source today is a really interesting YouTube video from the channel Roundtable AI. And they're discussing this new AI agent called Mattis. But this isn't just another chatbot. This is something that's supposed to be operating on a whole other level.
One of the things that's really interesting about Mattis is that it goes beyond just conversation. Like, it can actually take action and complete tasks. We're talking planning trips, designing websites, even analyzing all sorts of complex documents.
And it's apparently doing all of this incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
The video claims that Mattis is actually outperforming some of the biggest names in AI, like even OpenAI's DeepSeek, on benchmarks, like the Gia Bench.
Right. And the Gia benchmark is designed to measure how well an AI can understand complex instructions and then actually execute those instructions in real-world scenarios. So it's not just about answering questions correctly, but it's about showing that it actually has a deeper level of comprehension and problem-solving ability.
So, like, it can actually get stuff done. And Mattis seems to be doing that with a level of efficiency and accuracy that has everyone paying attention. I mean, they even gave an example in the video of Mattis, like, screening resumes from a zip file.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about that example is how Mattis actually approaches the task. So it works. It operates asynchronously in the cloud. That means you can give it a job, close your laptop, and Mattis will just keep working in the background, and then it notifies you when it's finished.
Wow, so it's like having a tireless digital assistant that never stops.
Yeah, exactly. And the video even showed Mattis unzipping the file and then going through each resume page by page and gathering information, just like a human would.
Yeah, that's wild. So it's not just keyword matching. It's showing that it understands the content and the context of each resume, which is, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And this ability to just work independently in the background, it seems like that's key to what makes Mattis so powerful. They gave another example in the video of them asking Mattis to plan a trip to Bali.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting. So instead of just giving links to travel websites, Mattis actually went out and did some real-time research, like pulling data from different sources to put together a structured itinerary. It even suggested things to do based on the user's preferences.
So instead of just like providing information, Mattis is using information to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like a travel agent and a personal assistant all in one AI package.
Exactly. And that's the level of sophistication that's really drawing the comparisons to DeepSeek. You know, it's like DeepSeek opened the door for text-based interaction, and now Mattis is taking that and applying it to like real-world tasks and actions.
It's like DeepSeek opened the door, and Mattis is showing us how far we can really go.
Right.
Now, one thing that's sort of mysterious about Mattis is the company behind it, this Chinese startup called Monica. Like, there's barely any information about them online, which makes it even more intriguing.
Yeah, like, who are these people? What's their background? How did they even develop something this advanced seemingly out of nowhere? It definitely makes you curious.
Yeah, big time.
But one clue we do have about how serious this all might be is the guy who hosted the Mattis demo in the video, Peak Jihye.
Peak Jihye, the mammoth mobile browser guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's a pretty big name in the Chinese tech scene. And the fact that he's involved suggests that this isn't just some side project. There are some serious people backing this.
Makes sense. And it makes you wonder what the implications are going to be, especially when you consider that Mattis can't just access information. It can actually browse the web and interact with websites just like a human.
Right. And this is where we start to see the potential for what people are calling AI-powered browsing. So Mattis can take screenshots, it can record its activity, and even give recommendations based on what it finds.
Wow. Think about what that means. Like, instead of searching for information, we could have an AI that's interacting with the internet for us, completing tasks, gathering data, and basically acting as our digital representative online.
It's a paradigm shift in how we think about and interact with the internet.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Mattis so fascinating. It's not just another AI improvement. It feels like a real leap forward, like a window into a future where AI is even more integrated into our lives.
It definitely raises a lot of questions about how this technology is going to evolve and what it could mean for us.
So before we jump into those questions, let's take a closer look at some of those specific examples from the video. These examples really give you a sense of what Mattis can do and why people are so excited about it.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with one that really stood out was Mattis's ability to actually control a bunch of screens at the same time. Like, they showed it managing something like 50 screens all at once and jumping between different platforms and tasks.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So like watching a whole team of virtual assistants all working at the same time, like each one focused on a different part of some bigger project.
Exactly. And it makes you think that Mattis can handle a level of complexity that we just haven't seen before in AI. Like, it's not just automating individual tasks, it's like orchestrating these entire workflows.
And they said in the video that this kind of multitasking could like revolutionize fields like financial analysis and software development.
Yeah.
Where you have to manage tons of data and coordinate all these complex processes.
Oh, for sure. Imagine if AI could handle all the boring and time-consuming parts of those jobs. That would free up the human experts to focus on like the creative and strategic stuff.
Yeah, it'd be like having an army of digital assistants in the background, crunching numbers, putting together reports, and like flagging anything that looks off.
And that brings us back to that idea of Mattis maybe leading the way to this like AI-powered browsing.
Right. It's not just about finding information, it's about actually using that information to do things, manage workflows, and basically like extend what we can do in the digital world.
Like having a digital extension of ourselves, like this super efficient agent that can deal with all the complexities of the internet for us.
Yeah, and as we were talking about before, that kind of capability raises some interesting questions about the future of work. Like if AI can handle all these complex tasks, what's left for humans to do?
That's a question we're going to have to think about very carefully as this technology keeps developing. Like, it's not just about learning new skills for new jobs. It's like rethinking what work even means.
Right, like what skills and qualities are going to be valuable when AI can do so many of the things we do now?
It probably means things like creativity, critical thinking, being able to solve problems and understanding emotions are going to become even more important as AI takes over more of the routine work. It's about focusing on what makes us human and using those strengths to work with AI in new ways.
Speaking of working together, let's talk about something else they highlighted in the video. Mattis's ability to learn and adapt based on feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's like a key part of any intelligent system, right? Being able to learn from experience and change its behavior is what allows an AI to get better and more effective over time.
They had an example in the video where they asked Mattis to find a specific type of restaurant in a neighborhood. And when Mattis gave them a list that wasn't quite right, the user gave some feedback. And Mattis immediately adjusted its search and gave better results.
And it's that kind of real-time learning and adaptation that is so impressive about Mattis. It's not just following a set of instructions, it's showing that it can understand and respond to nuanced feedback. That's a sign of real intelligence.
It's like having a conversation with a really competent assistant who's constantly learning and getting better the more you interact with it.
Exactly. And that level of personalization and responsiveness is what could make AI agents like Mattis so transformative. It's not just about automating things, it's about creating a more seamless and intuitive way to interact with technology in general.
It's like moving from a world where we have to adapt to technology to a world where technology adapts to us.
And that's a really exciting idea. It suggests a future where technology becomes less of a tool and more of a partner. Like it's augmenting our capabilities and helping us achieve things we can only imagine right now.
But of course, like with any new technology, especially something as powerful as AI, we have to think about the risks and challenges. And the people developing Mattis seem to be aware of that. In the video, they talked about how important it is to build in safeguards to prevent misuse and make sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
Oh, definitely. As AI gets more advanced, we need to be really careful about how we design and use it. It's not just about progress, it's about making sure that it's used for good and that everyone benefits.
We need to make sure that as AI gets more powerful, we're also developing the ethical frameworks and safeguards to make sure it's developed and used the right way.
It's a tough challenge, but it's one we absolutely have to face head on. The development of AI is going to have a huge impact on our lives, and we need to approach it with both excitement and a sense of responsibility.
Well said. So with that in mind, let's switch gears a little bit and explore some of the potential implications of Mattis and AI agents like it. What could this technology mean for the future of how we interact with the internet? What are some of the potential benefits and drawbacks?
Those are great questions. Let's start by considering...
I think one of the most interesting things about Mattis is how it could change our own personal relationship with technology. We've talked about the impact on jobs and the ethical questions, but like, how could Mattis change the way we interact with the internet every day?
Well, just imagine if you could like hand off all those little online tasks that take up so much of our time, booking flights, researching products, comparing prices, all that stuff we spend hours on.
It'd be like having a personal assistant for the internet, someone to do all the digital chores and give us back our time and energy for other things.
Right, and not just an assistant, but one that learns what you like over time and can even anticipate what you need. The more you use it, the more personalized and efficient it gets.
So instead of spending hours browsing websites and comparing different things, we could just tell Mattis what we're looking for and let it do all the work. That could totally change how we do online shopping, plan trips, even just basic research.
Yeah, it's all about getting back our time and attention so we can focus on the things that really matter. Instead of being stuck doing all the busy work online, we could have an AI handle it, and we could spend more time on the content and experiences we actually enjoy.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Especially these days when we're constantly being bombarded with information and demands for our attention. It'd be like having a filter for all the digital noise so we could just see the stuff that's actually relevant and useful.
Exactly. It's about going from reacting to technology all the time to being more proactive and intentional. Instead of always responding to notifications and demands on our time, we could have an AI help us prioritize and manage our digital lives better.
That's a really powerful concept. It's like a future where technology isn't a distraction anymore, but a tool that helps us reach our goals and live more fulfilling lives.
It's exciting, but it also makes you think about how we manage our relationship with AI. If we become too reliant on these systems, are we going to lose some of our own agency and decision-making power?
That's a good point. It shows how important it is to be mindful and deliberate about how we use these tools. We need to make sure we're not just dumping all our responsibilities on AI, but using it as a partner to help us do things better.
It's a balancing act for sure, but one we need to get right as we enter this new age of AI. The goal should be to create a world where technology empowers us, not the other way around.
Well said. I think as we wrap up our deep dive into Mattis today, it's clear that this is just the start of a much bigger discussion about AI and what it means for all of us. Mattis gives us a glimpse of what might be possible. A future where AI is more woven into our lives, helping us with tasks, managing information, maybe even acting as our digital stand-ins online.
It's a future full of both amazing possibilities and potential dangers, and it's really up to us to decide how this technology develops and make sure it's used to make things better for everyone.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey. If Mattis is as big as it seems, we'll definitely be talking about it again. Until then, keep those minds active, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.